Long time no speak. Wow. This has been a long episode in the making. We are finally here for the penultimate round of Season 3 of F1 25 My Team Career Mode. Now guys, a quick reminder, we are in the fight for the World Constructors Championship. If you want to see the previous episode, now is your chance.
Hey, me again. Got another question for you.
I'm not going to bore you with it. The Drivers' Championship was something we fought for up until Mexico, which is when Lando won the Drivers' Championship. Just like in real life, he is the champion, and our sole focus since then has been battling for the Constructors, and it's a really close fight between us, Ferrari and McLaren. Now, George Russell has been approached by Mercedes. Obviously, he's still there right now. It seemed like he was on his way out, but Mercedes have offered him a contract. Now, as you guys know, we have already offered George a deal. I didn't show this in a previous episode. I wanted to try and keep this a bit of a surprise, but they're trying to take him away. So I'm waiting for a response from George regarding contract negotiations. So for now, we have to keep waiting. It's basically out of our hands. Now, for this one, we are going to select Pierre Gasly, 92 rated Pierre Gasly, who has gone down a rating, interestingly. Now, the forecast, of course, is dry, as you would expect in the desert. So, in the drivers, Pierre's fighting for second, Sainz is fighting for fifth. But the constructors, it's where it's at. Ferrari, Cadillac, McLaren. We are super close in that fight. Only 4 points behind Ferrari heading into this weekend. And McLaren are 24 behind us and 28 behind Ferrari. So that's going to be the battle to watch in this entire episode. So it doesn't matter which driver combination it is. Just watch out for the McLarens and the Ferraris. Now for this one, we are going to freshen up some of the components on Pierre's car. Notably the ICE. We're going to head on to the final unit for the Qatar race. The sprint, of course, today as well. And then Abu Dhabi in the final episode. Now we're going to go ahead and also change the turbocharger as well, just to freshen that up a little bit as well as we jump into Friday practice. As you know, we're going to do our race runs. We're going to go ahead and make a quick setup, again modifying what's allowed within the rules in parc fermé conditions and nothing more. So yeah, tire pressures very high. This is a track where you overheat your tires like crazy, and we're going to jump into on-track activities. Now we're only going to do 3 laps as we are on a set of softs. Soft tyres are not going to be a tyre that we're going to use much because they'll likely overheat. We do the minimum 3 laps to get the data, and that is going to be pretty much job done for us in this one as we get a purple score. So overall, no dramas, car working well, feeling pretty comfortable, confident and quick. Tyre wear is actually pretty decent, 1.11 is not terrible for a track like Qatar where it's historically high on tyre wear. Fuel burn is around 43 kilos, so we'll make a note of that for the race. 1.49 per lap, make a note of that for the sprint. And yeah, overall you can see there, pretty consistent and no dramas. So we finished practice and we are currently P2 with Pierre, so very good. However, Verstappen went a whole second quicker. As for Carlos Sainz, it's P8 on the hard compound tyres, also fairly encouraging considering the tyre compound. And yeah, job done for us, picking up our usual 225 R&D points. So yeah, practice finished. We're going to get into the shootout part, starting with the qualifying in the sprint.
It's all about flow and pace today, qualifying in Qatar. A high-speed test that will set the grid for tomorrow's race. So welcome along.
Now, on track, as you guys know, because we are running a short qualifying format, the game gives you medium tyres, and we only have 1 set of softs available. So basically, we're going to use one of these kind of throwaway medium tyres to get a banker lap down in this sprint shootout. Lando goes quickest on a 1:17.0. To be fair, historically, the mediums have been fine. They haven't been bad at all for a banker tyre, and we've been able to get pretty decent laps historically. So, you know, I'm hoping for more of the same. Currently, 1.6 up on Dennis Hauger. Obviously, as you would expect, V-Carb, it's not a fast car, but even still 1.6 in the first sector is a hefty chunk of lap time difference. Now, we are heading through turn 9 into turn 10. Important to get a good exit here. And then sector 3, honestly, is all flat except for the last corner. So sector 2, we're at 1.7, almost 1.8 seconds up on Pepe Marti as we go, of course, personal best, first and second sector, all flat through here. This one, a slight correction on the steering as we try to use our battery. And now the final corner for this one. To get the power down as soon as possible. Every bit of the curb as we head to the line. DRS, and across we go to a 17.3 and provisional P2 with Carlos in P3. So job done for us, although we do drop down to 5th and 6th. The likes of Leclerc setting pretty strong times, Tsunoda and Russell as well. And that's going to leave us on to one final run on soft tyres for our final qualifying lap of the session. So can we find half a second to fight for pole? And I say half a second, if others improve, we're going to need a little bit more than that. So let's see what happens here in this final lap in the shootout. C'est magnifique. Beautiful lap there for pole in the sprint. And that is what I'm talking about. So you can see we just beat Charles Leclerc by half a tenth. Yuki up there as well. Tsunoda looking pretty strong. Norris is P4 ahead of Russell. Sainz P6, not too shabby, but there is a gap there between Russell and Sainz in P5, P6. Hadjar in the top 8. Piastri only 8th. Ocon, Crawford round out your top 10. And the big one really is Verstappen P12, and then Antonelli P13 and Albon P14. So some pretty notable results in that one, but crucially both of our cars in the top 6, and we are the best placed team for the sprint shootout. So hopefully we can try and convert this and pick up maximum points and get the weekend off to a good start. So let's get to the sprint and let's see how the race goes. Let's get to work.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. A fantastic effort from Pierre Gasly yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Tsunoda, Norris, George Russell and Sainz, Hadjar, Piastri, Ocon and Jack Crawford, Behrman, Verstappen, Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Albon, Doohan, Lawson, Lance Stroll and Franco Colapinto, Aaron Bortoletto, Pepe Marti and Dennis Hauger rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Right, here we are then. Time for the sprint. Now, this one's interesting. We always seem to go a compound harder than the AI around here because they can make theirs last and not overheat. Still though, I'm confident on the medium will be pretty strong and have a good sprint ahead of us. I'm just trying to get last bit of tyre temp here before we get started. A little bit cold rears, but again, I'm not in a massive rush to warm those up. Overheating will be the key moment of this race, so just try and get a good start and manage. Everyone on softs, we've got the fuel ready, everything's ready, so let's get to it. Right, 10 laps of Qatar. This one should be quick, a very quick sprint. We go to the lights, and we're underway. Excellent start from us. Really, really good. We'll hold the lead into turn 1. So I'm going to try and bolt straight away. So notice battling with Leclerc here. So we've got exactly what we want. A nice little gap to the cars behind. So we'll see if we can try and open this up. AI are typically a little bit passive on lap 1 pace, restart pace after safety cars and whatnot. They sort of get going on lap 2. So I want to see if I can try and open this up ASAP, basically, before the DRS becomes available. Only one zone, of course, but it's a long one down that main straight, and it's pretty effective. Traditionally, we always seem to have higher wings than the AI, so we need to make this first lap count, and we are doing that right now, opening up a massive gap over Tsunoda and Leclerc. Let's stick with it then. Through here, we need to nail these fast corners to really push the gap out. If we keep our foot pinned to the floor through here, we'll gain a massive amount of time. And we haven't used a ton of battery either, so that's quite encouraging. Final corner, end of lap 1. And there we go, gap is 1.4, so now we try and manage it pretty much.
We can now use DRS. DRS now available.
Still using the battery. There is a DRS. Leclerc back through on Tsunoda. That's what we want to see. A bit of battling behind will always help. Got a yellow. Either a DNF or some sort of contact. I'm sure, I think it's further back.
Green flag.
Ocon out in the Aston Martin as we are still pushing on here. Leclerc to second now. Gap is still 1.4. So just going to try and keep it there, basically. This is going to be a very quick sprint where we're just pushing flat out the whole time. Ooh, missed the downshift. A little bit wide at the last corner as a result of that. Still got a decent gap over Leclerc, although he'll go purple. He was a bit quicker on that lap. Tsunoda's nearly been dropped. First warning. A little bit too much of a corn car there. All good though. Just got to keep it tidy. Right, good lap. Purple sector 3. We actually pull away a little bit from Leclerc. Tsunoda goes purple now. Them two battling would be ideal at this point, just to really help push the gap to 2 seconds. But at the minute, they're kind of getting through and switching cleanly without battling too much. Right, Russell goes quickest this time. Leclerc back through on Tsunoda. Those two are just switching and swapping and working together here, but I'm just about keeping them out of the 1 second range. Each lap that goes by will be stronger as the soft will begin to die off. Right, that was the lap where the elastic finally snapped. We were much quicker on that one compared to those on softs. Russell and Norris also were battling all lap long, so they've dropped out of the lead, or the battle for the podium, should I say. So this is our race to lose now. Second warning, all good though. Last lap, just going to bring this home now. The fuel's going to be a little bit marginal, but we should be good. We are just dipping under a lap here, but we should be able to get this back at the last corner. Leclerc down to 1.1. He hasn't stopped. He's managed to drop Tsunoda as well, so, you know, insane from him. But there we go, job done. We'll win the sprint, just about.
Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
Yes! That's what we're talking about.
Right, there we go then. Confirmation of the sprint results. We finished P1, Sainz P7, Verstappen only P8. That's a big surprise, although he started P12. Tsunoda and Leclerc on the podium, so a very mixed top 8 with all the big boys except for Kimi Antonelli. So if we quickly go to the standings, of course, the drivers in the fight for second place, Leclerc, Gasly, we close in a little bit, but it's still 6 points. In the constructors though, we are 5 points behind Ferrari, so it's all to play for heading into qualifying and the main event where the big points are going to be scored. So let's get to it.
It's all about flow and pace today, qualifying in Qatar, a high-speed test that will set the grid for tomorrow's race. So welcome along.
Now, time for the regular qualifying, and we'll talk about the format in just a second because we have a car leaving the pit lane. It's one of the Audis, it's Pepe Marti, and we have to take evasive action. So we kind of put the first lap in the bin and we go again. Luckily I had fuel for an extra lap. Now, unlike the sprint where we had a medium tyre followed by a soft, for this one we have 2 soft tyres available only. So we have to make both laps count. So the first one needs to be ideally pretty decent to kind of get a strong banker on the board, and then we can kind of, go for broke on the last
Okay, just 2 laps of fuel remaining now.
on the last lap. So currently through sector 1, using every inch of this Lusail International Circuit, we go purple, 9/10 up on Lance Stroll in sector 1. Now trying to keep the pressure on heading through sector 2. Not too sure what the best time is currently. I'm not sure if maybe that will flash up on screen, but for now we're pushing on unknown and blind. Now I believe the sprint pole, I think we did like a 16.7, I think. Might be wrong, 16.7 possibly. Aiming for that sort of lap time. We go purple in sector 2. We're now 1.5 up on Lance Stroll as we head towards the end of the lap, which currently would put us on around the 17.0. But of course we'll likely find more lap time here as we send it through that left. A little bit of battery left over as we go into 5th gear for the last corner. On the power, super early, using every bit of the curb and track. Up to the line we go. First lap of the session is a 1:16.6, straight to the top. Best time of the weekend so far, and we do it by some margin. We own the first and second sectors. Didn't quite get it in sector 3. Antonelli got the job done there, but still, to be fair, 3.5 tenths clear, and the rest over the rest of the field is pretty damn impressive. However, no sign of Carlos Sainz in the top 10, which isn't as impressive. Anyway, we need to go again, just to be sure. One more lap, full send. Can we go even quicker?
Good job, mate. Really, really well done. That was a fantastic drive. Bring it home.
I am very pleased.
Mamma mia, what a lap that is right there. It's poled by a quarter of a second over Antonelli, and then it's more than half a second to P3 and below. We put 1.3 onto Carlos, and it's an absolute statement performance from Pierre Gasly with the 1:16.4 in that qualifying session. Now, let's break it all down. Liam Lawson, P5 in the Golf Williams. Insane performance from him. Both Red Bulls only P6, P7, and the big ones to note here are Sainz in P12, Piastri P11, and Norris, the World Drivers' Champion, in P8. So, this one could be interesting. Leclerc's only P4. We potentially could do some massive damage if the sprint is anything to go by.
Welcome back to Qatar and the Lusail International Circuit. There's a long history of two-wheeled motorsport action here, but in 2021, Lewis Hamilton won out as part of an epic battle that year with Max Verstappen. But who will win out tonight? It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Pierre Gasly lines up on pole position, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Leclerc, Liam Lawson and Verstappen, Tsunoda, Norris, Ocon and Franco Colapinto, Piastri, Sainz, Jack Doohan and Behrman, Hadjar, Albon, Jack Crawford and Lance Stroll, Pepe Marti, Aaron, Bortoletto, and Dennis Hauger rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, here we go then. Time for some serious business racing. To be honest, I'm hoping this goes exactly like the sprint. We hold the lead, drive off, and stay a long way away. Now this one, of course, is going to feature a pit stop. Now, I do expect the AI to go hopefully a step harder on compound, therefore we'll all be on mediums. We're going to do a one-stopper and then be on hards for the second stint of the race. Look, I'll be honest, I'm hoping for a really nice, straightforward, boring race with no safety cars, no red flags. We just do a pit stop and get the win. And hopefully it sets us up very nicely for the finale in Abu Dhabi to hopefully try and fight for the Constructors' title. So, with that done, let's go straight to work. Tyres are definitely a bit on the colder side here. Not exactly ideal, but for some reason it's been a bit more difficult to get the tyre temp. Although I'm just going to kind of scrub them now and get that last bit in there. A little burnout just to get the tyres over the line. Let's get to it. This is going to be huge. For the Constructors' title, this is solely what we're fighting for now. Obviously, I want to try and beat Leclerc and finish second, runner-up in the Drivers, but the Constructors is what it's all about. Anyway, here we go. Russell on mediums with us, the rest on softs as we go to the lights. And it's another good launch. Antonelli right there. Does not challenge. So we hold the lead and we're going to try and do a carbon copy of the sprint and see if we can try and open a gap here early on. Get out of DRS and then just try and manage it as best as possible. To be fair, Kimi is not under threat from other cars behind, so he's a lot closer than the others were in the sprint. We'll try and get the hammer down and try and break away here. Although it's going to be difficult. We've got plenty of battery still in the tank. Maybe we do this on lap 2, but we sort of need to try and get away on lap 1 if we can make it happen. This is where we're going to open up the gap now through the fast stuff. We'll use a lot of battery here, to be fair. Kimi's looking pretty quick as well. Here we go. Oh, a bit of understeer there. Heavy fuel tank. Not as fast as qualifying or the sprint. Now the gap's starting to go up a little bit. Lifting a downshift there. Wasn't my best line. And we haven't really been able to shake off Antonelli. So looks like we're all going to stay in a pack formation for the time being.
DRS now enabled. DRS enabled.
There is a gap that's forming further back. So we are breaking up the pack a little bit. But we're going to have to keep chipping away here to try and open things up. There's Verstappen in P5 as Russell drops back on that medium tyre. Highlighting how quick the softs are. Right, Antonelli right there. He's actually been able to drop Leclerc out of DRS range. Goes purple, quickest overall. He closes in. We're going to try and defend. I put the squeeze on. We have managed to drop Leclerc though, so hopefully we can try and keep that gap and break away. Leclerc also has dropped Lawson, so that's good to see. That was a good lap, a good response. Antonelli will look for it again as Yuki goes quickest and takes away the fastest lap. We're pulling away here. Antonelli and myself, we're opening up a gap. Oh, wide. Tried to keep it flat. A bit too early for that. Early warning. At the minute, nothing's really happening. Antonelli is literally like my shadow. He's not going anywhere and is showing no signs of dropping back anytime soon. That soft tyre still holding up for him. We've dropped Leclerc quite comfortably. The two Red Bulls are making their way up past the Williams, but at the minute Tsunoda seems to be the standout and he's cooking and is about to catch Leclerc, to be fair. Second warning very early on. Not great at all. Gap to Kimi though is going up a little bit.
We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time.
We've nearly got him out of range here, you never know. This could be the lap. Also, there's Sonoda moving up on Leclerc, which is great. So hopefully Leclerc drops down even more. That will be great for the runner-up fight in the Drivers' Championship. Alright, the gap's just gone over a second. This could be it. We're usually pretty strong through here. Although we need a little bit of caution because we are on 2 warnings. But I think we've likely got Antonelli out of range here. So now it's important that we try and open up a gap before he pits, because he's going to probably undercut us. So we need to have some margin. Right, pit stops have begun. Sonoda's the first one to bite. I reckon Antonelli will be in this lap. We're scheduled to pit this lap, but I might go one more. Right, hopefully Kimi stays out one more lap. If he does, we'll be boxing together. But I think he's going to box now. That's my guess. No, he stays out. Perfect. Right.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
We can manage this race then from P1 by boxing this lap and staying in front. Oh, a little bit deep. Pushing hard on the in-lap. We've got a bit of a gap to Kimi here, so... in we go. Right. Kimi stays out. Okay. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Wasn't expecting that. Norris pits, of course. First driver preference. Right, lovely stuff. So we'll get to hopefully put an undercut on Kimi and gain a lap's worth of undercut.
Carlos is in for his stop now.
That's not ideal. That is not ideal, but we move. It is what it is. He shouldn't get held.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Right, straight back underway, straight back onto the track, and straight back onto the time trialing pace, doing the constant qualifying laps. We should make it on tyres now after going an extra lap on those mediums, so we're all good to go. Let's push. And hopefully we can try and put a dent into Antonelli on this lap. Right, Kimi onto mediums, as I expected. Let's see. If he got a slow stop, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to hopefully drop him back a little bit. No purple sectors from us, but we are going to be comfortably ahead of Antonelli here, so we'll have a decent margin. Verstappen goes quickest as Antonelli rejoins, and to be fair, has lost a lot of time. Look at that, he's right there with Verstappen, so I think he had a slow stop. And Verstappen goes through, so suddenly this race looks a hell of a lot more comfortable, which is great news for us. At the minute, Verstappen's like 7/10 a lap quicker. We did a 20.2, we matched our personal best on that lap, so hopefully there'll be a bit of a tyre performance swing. Ocon's out again. Wow, I swear he retired on the sprint. That's insane. We don't want a safety car though. We really don't want that, and I don't think we're going to get one, luckily. Right, there we go. That's a bit more like it. 2 back-to-back PBs on pace, 20.0 followed by a 19.8. Gap stabilised at 6 seconds to Verstappen, so threat over. 10 to go. A sprint distance away from race victory. Let's bring her home. Come on. No more warnings as well. Very important. Full feedback's gone. Not great. Suddenly, it's all just gone light and it's completely disappeared. Yet again. Blue flag on Hadjar. Stroll out the race. So both Aston Martin is DNF, I believe. That's a shocker for them. Still without full feedback, but I've kind of gotten used to it now, so we're still running at a decent pace. I just am minding my track limits a little bit, not taking as much risk. Right, these two battling ahead, not ideal. Last lap though. Hopefully they'll get out of the way. That's a bit of dirty air, but we passed one, and now we need the other to get out of the way. There we go. No dramas, all good. So here we go then, last lap of the race. Perfect execution. A bit of a disaster for Antonelli in the end, but we do yet another sprint weekend double, and that is huge. Outscoring Leclerc, outscoring our rivals. Come on.
Absolutely awesome. Just amazing, mate. Well done.
Let's go, baby! Love that!
Here's the checkered flag, and here's our winner. C'est magnifique! It's Pierre Gasly.
and you can see what it means for the driver. Such relief after carrying all the stresses of this championship fight with the constructors being so closely fought this season. You now can embrace the team, enjoy this moment. Job well done.
It's what they've all been racing towards, waiting for them. High above the pit lane is our podium. And for the lucky three, it's time to stand on it. And only one can take that top spot. Today, it's Pierre Gasly's.
Now, I'm going to keep this very short. My voice is on the ropes. I've been struggling in the second half of the video, hence why you might tell there was a different bit of lighting from earlier till now. When I was wearing a hat to now, my voice was really going during this video, so I had to take a break. But we pick up the win. In the end, it was fairly comfortable, and Antonelli drops the P4, disappointing for him. Leclerc only P6, Carlos Sainz only P9, and yeah, not a great day for Mercedes in P10 and P13. So, how did the standings look heading into Abu Dhabi? Well, the drivers, obviously Lando is already a World Drivers' Champion, but Gasly is now 11 points ahead of Leclerc heading into Abu Dhabi. So a really good chance of actually keeping that position. Sainz also 7 points behind Piastri to make it into the top 5. So we've got a couple of objectives for the finale in the drivers, P2 and P5 respectively. In the constructors, we lead for the first time this season. We dethrone Ferrari and we are P1 heading into the finale. So we still have a championship to fight for, and the gap is a 4-point lead. McLaren still mathematically in the fight, but that Antonelli collapse was definitely not what they needed. So yeah guys, we'll leave it there and we'll see what happens in the season finale in Abu Dhabi, guys. Cheers for watching. I'd appreciate a like on the video. Let's try and smash 500 likes. Subscribe for more. Comment below as well what your thoughts are. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. On screen you would have seen the fallout from that one. In the meantime, guys, check out the 2 videos on screen. And as always, a massive shout out to my channel members. Guys, cheers for watching. I'll see you next time. Grazie. Ciao, ciao.